when you come out my way. That's why my field stays packed on Fridays. We hunting, fishing, good living, just soaking up every country second we're giving.
Hey, it's Justin Kelly and Laura Starling, the Old Boots Podcast, and we are happy to be here today with Demun Jones.
Hola.
What's up, Mr. Demun Jones? How
What's
are you
up, brother?
today?
I'm amazing.
All right, we're glad you came to sit down with us. We've got him over in North Macon at the studio here. And
let's go.
Man, it's going to be a good time. We've been looking forward to this for a long, long time.
Well, thanks
Justin
for having me.
always calls you David.
Well,
and
that's my name.
Because that is your name.
Correct.
But I've never known you as David. I've always known you as Demun.
It's a nickname I got very young, and especially in music, people learned of me that way. So I would say probably 50% of everyone that speaks to me calls me Demun, and then 50% call me David, which is fine with me.
Demun?
A friend of mine started calling me that when I was probably 18 or 19. He said when I was rapping that I looked like a demon. Oh. And he started calling me that, and it just kind of stuck. And it's a gentleman that lives here in Macon, Georgia, Eric Brown, who was a really big part of getting me started, like encouraging me, showing me, you know what I mean, how to structure lyrics and stuff like that. He was a big inspiration. And so it kind of stuck, you know. But I came up with the spelling of it. I didn't want it to be something that when people looked at it, that it looked like a demon from hell. Like, right. You know what I mean? It was not... That has nothing to do with it, you know. I spelled it the way it is because the E and the U line up with Jesus, and I believe in Jesus, and I wanted that to be kind of between me and Jesus, that Jesus knew that it was in Jesus' name, you know, like, and it just kind of stuck. So by the time I thought, this might not be a good name, it was too late, you know. It was too late. I was like, I got to roll with this, you know.
It stuck with you.
It stuck with me, and people, it's kind of worked, you know. It's easy to remember, I guess.
It is easy to remember.
Yeah.
David's a little bit harder for me. Sometimes people go, well, you know, David Jones. I'm like, wait, oh yeah, Demun Jones. Okay.
Well, there's you know millions of Davids, you know, but there's not a whole lot of demons, people that are named that. So.
And there's only one Demun Jones.
There's only one, and there's only one of those.
There we go.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, you know, everybody that's watching the podcast, a lot of them will know who you are. A lot of them have heard of you, but a lot of them haven't heard of you. And there's a central core around some things that you like to rap about and sing about.
Right.
And it's Jones County.
Absolutely.
And you want to tell us some roots about Jones County?
Yeah. Well, that's where I was born and raised. So when I started being, creative in a musical sense, I didn't really have much to talk about, you know, and I'd always lived in Jones County. So it didn't stand out to me as something that would be like, ooh, I should write about this, because it was really all I knew. But then as I started traveling, like especially with Rehab, the band Rehab, and coming home, I started to realize like, wow, this place really stands out as an amazing place. You know, like growing up, like most people, you want to graduate and get away, right? So then I got away a little bit, and I just couldn't wait to get back. And so when I started to do my solo stuff, and lived and lost, and, you know, you experience things, what stood out to me is what would be most important to me is, well, what am I? Where am I from? What do I know? And Jones County is very important to me. So I feel like that's the center. That is the core of where my creativity was born and inspired from my experience and the things I've gone through and came out of in Jones County. So
there we go. So I've always heard stories, and I've just heard you talk about it in the past, but, you know, everybody thinks that you're only a singer, but, you know, if anybody's ever been to one of your shows, they see that you move more than anybody, any person that's putting on a show in the industry. You move more than they do. And I've always heard stories about the breakdancing and stuff like that in high school.
Yeah, well, really before high school, it was more like elementary school.
Okay.
I was really hypnotized by the breakdancing culture, and took a liking to it, and had a kind of a natural knack for it, and I did it quite a bit. And that was kind of what pulled me into music, because I was always creative, trying to build something or draw something or do something that was cool. And then the dancing just is what pulled me further into music. And I guess my mother said I used to dance to the windshield wiper in the car. And like, I don't remember that. And I don't remember like learning to dance. it was something I always did when the music came on. Like even now, my wife will have to say, honey, we're in the grocery store. I'm like, I'll chill out, you know, I don't want to embarrass anybody. But I don't honestly have any idea what's going on when I'm on stage. I have no idea. There's no like decision-making process. Ooh, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. That is just my response to music and my response to performing music. And,
were you popular in high school?
yeah, I was.
With the girls especially?
Yeah, and sometimes not necessarily popular for the right things, but I really enjoyed everybody, and I was pretty much friends with everybody, you know. And I tried to dress crazy. That, you know, I was trying to be creative with what I wore. I mean, I looked like a mannequin at an urban fashion store. I would try to wear colors just because I knew no one else would wear it. Like I would wear like some bright pink polo pants just because I knew that I wasn't supposed to.
Right.
And I was rebellious, and but I still was pretty good at school. You know, I did enough to pass, and I got in a few fights, not a lot. I wasn't a bully, and I didn't like bullies, but I loved everybody. I had a special needs little sister that was also in the school system, so I was acquainted with all those kids. And I played some sports, but once I got to high school, I was like, if I'm trying to be cool, it ain't cool getting ran over by a 250-pound linebacker after school every day. So I hung the football up, and the dancing kind of got popular. So I was we were performing, doing that. So that kind of pulled me away from high school athletics and stuff like that. But then that means I knew people all the people at Jones County. I knew most of the cool people at Central High School, Southwest High School, some of the private schools. So it's like, yeah, I was popular. You know,
Well,
I didn't mean to be.
The only reason I ask that is because most high school boys don't want to dance.
Right.
But the girls definitely want to. So
Yeah,
I
the
would have
girls
thought
liked
that
it.
made you popular.
The girls liked it for sure. And I wasn't shy at all. I didn't, I'm much less shy now. I might be a little more reserved now, but when I was a kid, I would intentionally do things because it would stand out. And as an adult, I have kind of grown out of that, the desire to be seen or the desire to be noticed. And that doesn't necessarily mesh well with my profession. You know, it's like, I don't do a lot of interviews. I mean, I could probably count on one hand how many real, like videotape interviews I've done. I would say 5 or 6 maybe. And I've been making a living almost 20 years. But I got to get out of that, you know, because it is such especially in the modern world, information and content is how people, you know, they hear your song moves them, they want to know more about you. And so you it's kind of a part of the job. You should give them that in a sense.
They want to see you and
know what you're about. You know, did somebody write this song for you? Is this really your life? Did you really go through that? Or like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But, you know, I'm kind of coming to grips with that. And, you know, I have teenage daughters, and so things that I do, everything I say or do, and whether they know it or not, I know it, that it can impact them, right? And my wife and my children. And so I'm a bit more reserved than I would have forecasted if you'd asked me when I was 17. Right? I was a nut.
So going back to your high school days, you know, with the dancing and things like that, when was the first time you actually put out like a CD? Like did you go do like a mixtape in high school, or did you do it a little after?
No, I wasn't in high school. It was after high school. But I started writing, trying to put things together, probably in 10th grade. And I had a knack for it. And there's a lot of creative people in my family too. My older brother, Chris, who is passed away, but he was a very gifted writer, poet, and like short stories.
Right.
And so I wanted to do it, and I started doing it. I was like, wow, okay, I'm not really talking about anything, but this sounds cool. And so I started spending a lot of time doing it. And then I would probably say I was 19 or 20 the first time I actually went in the studio and recorded things. And I got right to it. Like I got tapes and CDs made up, and I would go to the football games and try to sell them out of my pocket, you know, and I would, you know, just enough to kind of pay for the studio time. And it just kind of grew from there, you know. I don't remember deciding like, oh, I'm going to do this. It just kind of felt like what I was always going to arrive at.
Right.
I was kind of standing in the way, you know. I never touched an instrument until I was out of high school.
Right.
And I started playing the guitar. And when I started playing the guitar, my writing really took a sharp turn. And I had been through some things, you know what I mean, as a teenager. Like my parents got divorced. Multiple of my friends passed away. Like you start to experience some of the scars of life or the experiences, good and bad. And I think that kind of builds you up. It gives you more of a well of topics to talk about. So then the stuff I was writing didn't just sound like a bunch of words that sounded cool. It was actually about something.
Right.
You know?
So super early on in your, I don't know if you would call this super early on, but you know, you wrote a song that got picked up by somebody that got a gold album. Is that right?
It first got a gold record, which is just for the song, and then the album went gold. When I was in, I signed a production deal with a company in Atlanta, which ended up becoming Average Joe's. But they were trying to get me to do country rap in like 2002, and I was of the mindset that like I didn't think people were ready for that. I didn't. Of course, you have Johnny Cash, and all of it's rhythm and rhyme, really, when you get down to it. But I was just like, I didn't. It kind of felt forced at the time,
right?
But I wrote a few songs that were still had some, to me, integrity to them. I wrote the guitar music and some verses. And then a few years later, Colt Ford and John Michael Montgomery would take a song that I wrote called Warm Wind. That was kind of somber, actually, and they changed the, they still used the music progressions and some of the words, but they made it right through the country. And I'm glad they did, that was kind of my first official credit in the music industry as a contributor, to something.
Right.
And I ended up getting a gold record, and the album went gold this past year. So, yeah.
How cool was that?
It's pretty cool, man. And that gave me the jolt. That was like in 2008, I think, when that song came out. And that was the first time my name was included.
Right.
Something official.
That's awesome.
Okay.
It's
when I was
cool to see your name.
it
when you
is.
look at the credits on an album or in the liner notes, and you see your name, you're like, whoa, did you frame it?
Yeah. And I'm an artist, right? And a performer at this point, touring with Rehab when this happens. And I wasn't involved in a lot of the creative process with Rehab at the time. Danny Boone is such a genius. He was kind of the guy, right? And I was a part of the team for sure and believed in him a lot. But when that happened, it just, I always had ideas and I was always writing and coming up with things on my own. And to get that nod was a big deal for me. It gave me a lot of confidence and kind of brought me in the conversation for other things with people, whether it be me rapping on one of their songs. And that's kind of when the Mud Digger stuff, I started getting included in that, which I got a gold record for that as well. And I have 3 songs in the past 12 months, Demun Jones songs that have gone gold. I just haven't got the plaques yet.
There we go.
Campfire Cologne with Upchurch, Backyard Lullaby, and Feeling Good are all gold records.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, when you knew that this is what you were going to do, was there a album or a CD that you had released and you were like, this is it? This is this is a game changer right here?
Yeah. And Jones County.
Right.
Because that was my first, like when I did Muddy Muddy in 2013, and they put it on one of the Mud Digger compilations. It's on the Jones County album too, which came out the following summer. But I went into Nashville and on a Sunday, started Monday morning. On Thursday, I was on the way home I had done 10 songs. Mm-hmm. And those 10 songs are like Country Fried, Boondocks, Dixie Dimes, Tannerite, Wheels Fall Off. Like all these songs, like
right.
Firecracker, Backyard Lullaby, which I didn't even put on the album.
Right.
Put that on a later album. It's the only gold record in the bunch. And I'm not trying to be a historian here, but I can't help but be because I was in the room when this stuff kind of started, right? So if you listen to country rap before that album, Jones County,
right,
which is all a bunch of great work, by the way. Georgia Boys, Lax, Colt Ford, Big Smo. Right. These guys were making a living, right?
Yes,
right.
These were like the only people that were making a living.
Right.
Charlie Farley was just getting started, but I knew who he was. And then if you listen to country rap after the Jones County album, not many people will probably take the time to do that. But if you did, you will see that I know for a fact that the way that album was presented, the intensity, it had not been done to that in that way
Right.
up to that point. There was no songs that sounded like Boondocks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're aggressive lyricist.
Absolutely.
With an intense energy. But it's still, you could tell this dude is from over there.
Right.
Right. And with the subject matter, I was really focused on being authentic to Jones County. And I think it's I don't want to say my greatest work because I know that my greatest work is not even done yet. But
Still to come.
right. But I had so much to say. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't had my shot to like do a whole
Right.
album. And I would say that was the game changer for me.
And what I like about it is those CDs, especially the early on ones, even the ones now, but and this isn't knocking anybody that does do a lot of it, but there's not a whole lot of cussing in a Demun Jones album. I mean,
There's not. And you know, in my personal dialogue, you know, I can't say that, but
right.
I don't know, man. In music, there's something about it. I think, you know, my kids were very small when it was time for me to get busy on my own stuff. And I knew that whatever I'm making, my mom's going to hear it, my dad's going to hear it, my children are going to listen to it. And I just forced myself to learn, or I forced myself to create songs that are still on the level, right?
Right.
Intensity-wise, energy-wise. You do not have to cuss to write a good song. And I just,
And you
or
really
even if
don't.
it's a rap song or country rap song, whatever, you do not have to say MF.
Right.
And I say hell and bitch please and like, you know, I have these songs and I've dropped some F bombs. Like if you're on a song with Upchurch, right? Like it's not like, hey church, don't say this word. It's like, hey, let it rip. Let's
Right.
go.
Exactly.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
like if I know that is the room we're in, I'll do what comes to me. But on my stuff, I take pride in that as well because I would prefer mom and daddy that want to listen to it to play it and the kids enjoy it with them because I want my kids to enjoy it.
Right.
So it's just a reflection of what my intentions are in my house.
Right.
And you knew when you were with Rehab that you wanted some of that too, because they would have the regular Rehab show and then the kid-friendly,
All ages.
Yeah.
all ages.
Yeah. And you know, in Rehab, there was so much brilliant writing in that. You know, Danny is still doing it and he is really, I've been around him enough. I mean, I couldn't even put it into words because most people just hear the songs that come out, you know, but Danny's called me in the middle of the night and sang me a song that he's probably already forgot that is a masterpiece, right?
Right.
And so I've gotten to hear hundreds and hundreds of songs written by Danny just out of nowhere that are just masterfully written. And he didn't cuss a whole lot either, you know. And I think that's because I think he wants to be as righteous as he can, you know, and not put poison into the world. And I think the bedrock of the Rehab project is sprout from the experiences from addiction or experiences around that, which is kind of a brilliant take, really, you know, to, you know, even without saying it all the time, a lot of the thought processes and the subject matter is sprout early on. I don't know about now, but was sprout out of those experiences, you know, addiction and things that deal with that. And that applies to nearly, not everyone, but how many families are untouched by addiction? I mean, what are you talking about, half of all families?
Easily.
You know?
Easily.
So he's a genius, whether he realizes it or not. I do. And being around him for those years educated me and gave me a wealth of experience that I still use, you know.
So you were recently on the road with Brantley Gilbert. How was that?
It was amazing. He's amazing. His whole crew's amazing. It was a hell of an experience, you know, to be invited to something like that. I've always revered Brantley. We were he was on the Ride Through the Country album with Colt too. So like, I've known him since then, you know, 08, 09, something like that. But we didn't communicate a lot, you know, but around when I put out Jones County, we've communicated a bit and we were trying to work something out, but that's when he really like took off.
Took off.
And when people take off, I'm not holding on to the wing. You know what I'm saying? I'm clapping over here from the runway. And and then things, I like to be noticed because of just naturally, right? Like not because I called you and bothered the hell out of you until you're like, okay. Like, and so it just worked out, you know. And they asked us if we would be a part of it. I'd say absolutely. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, I mean, we can't let this go by without talking about the fact that his wife had a baby on tour and that you were
I was there.
And that you were there for it.
Tupelo, Mississippi, 1 mile from Elvis Presley's house.
Wow.
He was born. Yes. Me and Adam had walked there. We try to get miles in or exercise every day. So we walked to Elvis's house and back. 1 mile, like 1.2 miles from the arena. Brantley's 2 or 3 songs into his set, and his tour manager, Corey, comes on stage and grabs him, and he's like, don't know what's going on, but then he sprints off. So I run out there by the buses, and they're like, Amber's having a baby. And like they knew she was possibly going to have a baby. So a midwife was there, all that. And so me and Adam went back into the arena. It's probably 5,000 people, you know, small arena in Tupelo. And so we're walking around the front row in the little pit area, taking pictures, signing autographs, keeping people engaged and, you know, happy. So they're not just standing there
Waiting and wondering.
Well, I think an announcement had been made. I didn't hear it. What was happening? I think it kind of had traveled through the crowd, what was going on.
Right.
So about 30 or 40 minutes into that, the lights go off. And then they come get us. They say, hey, he's coming back. So I didn't say much to him. I was just clapping. He walked straight back on stage, started his show where he left off. And then the first time I got to talk to him is when I came on stage to perform the Me and My House song. Uh-huh. And it was a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? It's a pretty big deal. I mean, it was not a publicity stunt. I know I heard a few people saying that. It was great publicity. I'm like, oh, his wife's a badass.
Right.
Totally. She didn't go to the doctor. Like, she's straight. The baby was fine. Right.
Wow.
And she was outside of the bus later that night, about 2 a.m. before the buses left. She's out there walking around the buses.
Wow.
Wow.
Abram, and I got to hold him the next morning in Mississippi, Goshen, Mississippi. Beautiful baby, precious baby boy, and hell of an unforgettable. You know,
You'll never forget that.
and like, who can say I was born what on a tour bus right by Elvis's house while my daddy was on stage? Right. He ran off the stage and delivered the baby with his hands.
Oh yeah.
Made sure everybody was okay, went back on stage and finished his show. That's badass.
That is.
And his wife is just as much a badass for just no shot, no nothing. Let's get it.
Wow.
And she's beautiful and amazing, strong lady. And he's amazing. Their kids are beautiful. It's just awesome.
So, you know, with country rap, you know, you see a lot of collaboration,
right?
More than probably any other genre of music.
I hope so.
Is there somebody toward the beginning that was somebody that you were glad that you did something with, or do you have a favorite collaborator that y'all kind of bounce off each other a little bit better than most, or?
Really, that has changed over time. I mean, at first I didn't ever think about the collaborative thing. I was just worried about making sure I was making mine quality. And then once we get done with it, like, oh, it would be cool if we got the Georgia Boys on this song, or if Colt would do this. And then me and Church did an album, me and Adam did an album, and all those things. I'm super grateful for them. I think the collaborative effort is, I mean, in any kind of music, no matter if you know it or not, all those songs are collaborations. Right. Very few of them or just one guy doing everything. It's like even the guys you don't see play a huge part.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I'd be in trouble if I was I would figure it out, right?
Right.
But I think that, you know, and we've gone through a spell here where I don't think there has been enough collaboration between people. And I think that needs to come back, you know, because there's so many country rappers that have something to offer. I think we should be supporting each other and performing on each other's stuff and singing on each other's stuff and, you know, just making it a bigger deal because we're already kind of got the deck stacked against us. It's a small genre, right? There's no not much mainstream. You know, that arena tour with Brantley is one of the biggest nods we got. And I think Jelly Roll just announced his Canadian tour. He's got Savannah Dexter on the Canada dates, which is awesome. Like, I think things like this are starting to happen a little bit more.
Right.
And I have theories on that, of why that is, but I don't know. I don't put too much weight on one collaboration over the other. Now, some of them made more money, like some of them got more views and things like that. But I've never made music because of money. I didn't, I made music when no one was looking.
Right.
No one cared. And I made it because I think I'm an artist. I have this urge, desire to create things that are cool. And for that, I'm grateful equally for all the collaborations.
Well, speaking of Jelly, this album was 10 years ago, about roughly, right? The Muddy Muddy album?
The Muddy Muddy album was.
Isn't that what Bronco was on?
Oh, no. Bronco was on the Beast album that came out in 2016.
Gotcha. So it's eight years or so ago.
Yeah.
And
I recorded it. I started recording it about 9 years ago.
Right. So 9 years ago, when you guys are sitting down and y'all are recording this thing, Jelly Roll is not who Jelly Roll is now, and a lot of people may.
Well, he was to me.
I
already knew who he was, right? Because he had been in the trenches, like in Nashville, working, and me being, an underground artist.
Right.
I know who these people are,
right?
And I revered him already and respected him, and I knew how talented I thought he was,
right?
And I wish I knew he could sing like that. I would have been like, well, let's do this other song, right? But no, and he did it, and he called me at the last minute. He said, Demun, I just want you to know I'm doing this, because I respect you. I know what you're about, and I'd love to do it. And he sent me his part, like on the last day that he could do it. And then he came over for the video, and it was awesome, man. It was awesome.
Right. That worked right out too.
Yeah, man. And he's great, man. I mean, he's a great creator. I mean, God, he's blowing up, man.
Oh, absolutely. Everywhere
he's one of the biggest artists in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is awesome, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
he came from the you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, dude.
Yes.
I get like watery-eyed thinking about it, man. Amen.
Yeah, because you saw where he was at and where he's went to.
Well, and he's been to prison, and like I didn't grow up with him, right? I don't want to pretend that I know. I didn't go to high school with him, but I've known who he was for quite some time before anybody knew in the greater population really knew who he was outside of Nashville,
right?
And the underground music scene, underground independent music scene. But yeah, man, he's been grinding and working and trying to figure it out for a long time, and God bless him that he did figure it out.
And he's looking a lot healthier now. He's lost 100 pounds and getting his weight under control. And
amen.
And I mean,
good for him.
Yeah, that way he can hang around and be around and entertain for years to come.
Yeah, man, I think he will. I think he'll get everything. At this point, he'll do whatever it is he set out to do.
That's right. So, last night on Facebook, we put out some questions that some people might want to know the answers to and that kind of thing. But,
the questions for me? Or I didn't even see that. I need to be... Never mind. That's another discussion, but go ahead.
There you go. So, a lot of them wanted to know just, do you have certain things that you do as far as to keep healthy on like a tour, when you leave for months and that kind of thing? Is there like a routine that you try to get going and working for you?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't want to take too long on it, but before I started touring, I was just laying block and pouring concrete, laying brick all day. Mm-hmm. And then I would get off of work and I would go straight to the gym for like 2 hours.
Right.
And I was in what I consider to be really good shape.
Right.
And then I started touring, and that was one of the things I kind of sacrificed. Because in the early days, we're in a van for 10 days, 70 days. And I'm driving like 9.9 miles out of 10.
Absolutely.
And so you don't have time to go to the gym or be picky about what you're going to eat. And so over a few years of that, I really kind of sacrificed that part of my life.
Right.
And so recently, especially during COVID, I saw a picture of me on stage at a Lax, when I was on tour with the Lax. I saw a picture of me on stage. And I got up off my ass right then because I am not going to be the chunky guy jumping around on stage.
Right.
I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
And so I went to the track and I walked 3 or 4 miles. And then during COVID, I think I did like 300 or 400 days in a row where I walked at least 3 miles. And I, started lifting weights. And now when I go on the road, I pay attention to what I eat. Sometimes I'll eat once a day. I will either lift weights or walk or both almost every day. Not every day, because some days the scheduling, because the music and the show is still number one. So if you get somewhere late and it's time to sound check, you have to sound check, and then you just don't have time.
That's right.
And so, But yeah, I put a lot into it. And today, as soon as we get done with this, I'm going to walk 3 or 4, how many miles I can get in before my children get out of school. Mm-hmm. And then, I lift weights 4 to 5 times a week and walk 20 miles a week, something like that.
Well, the good thing about a walking routine is that you can do that anywhere.
Anywhere.
Like you're saying, you were doing it, walking around the buses and
Absolutely.
getting it.
And your phone will measure it now, like, and anybody listening that's wondering, man, I got to get in shape, I can tell you exactly how to start the process. Get off your ass and walk 30 minutes that way, and then turn around and walk back. And then you have started, and then you just keep doing it. Listen to a podcast, call somebody you need to talk to, and walk that way. And then walk back, and there it is. And it's really that simple. And so, but yeah, I want to do this for quite a long time. And I want to remain, I got, kids that are very active. They play ball. I help coach them and work with them a lot. And I need to be useful and mobile, useful for a long time. So
absolutely,
it's really important to me,
Yeah. And so you're seeing now, where people are, there are times when you have to go out for 4 or 6 weeks at a time, even still. Yep. But you try to get it where you can just leave like on Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning.
That's a dream come true. This Brantley Gilbert tour, this last one,
right,
that just ended in Macon was, God, man, I don't want to say easy,
right,
but it was pretty easy,
right.
You get on the bus, 1 o'clock Thursday morning in Gray. You wake up, you're in West Virginia. You do the show. You go to Pennsylvania. You go to North Carolina. You go to sleep. You wake up, you're in Gray, Georgia.
Right.
Sunday morning. Like if I could do that, I would maybe work. I'd work 10 months out of the year.
Right.
I could do that. And you can do that. I'm not far off of that. One good album, one song away from doing that, as long as I want. And that's how I would prefer it. I'm not an absent father. I'm not a distant husband. And being a good husband and a great father is way higher on my priority list than anything
yeah,
related to anything else.
That's right.
It's not close.
That's right.
And my wife is a total soldier and has been with me since I did no shows, and I come home covered in concrete and do one show, one weekend, a month, 73 days, and she has been there the whole time. And I would just like to be home more.
Right.
And with my kids more. And I don't want to miss ball games.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like not to. I'm going to miss some.
Absolutely.
Because daddy's got to do what he's got to do. But those things are more important to me than money and being noticed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I've known you for about 20 years. I've known you a lot better lately, in the last 10 or so. But I've known who you are, and I've been around you for probably 20 years. And you are one of the hardest working people in show business. There's no way that's not a true statement. There's no way. But that hard work and dedication comes from your raising and your background. And like you said, there's a lot of people that's been in the news lately that said they've worked at McDonald's and different places like that. And
right.
Come to find out they did not. But Demun Jones really did lay block.
Oh, 100%.
And really did go through the grind to make it happen. You actually built the Dairy Queen, laid the block at the Dairy Queen in Gray. So that's living.
Well, hold on. Let's be accurate. Let's do it.
Let's be accurate.
I helped my dad to build the foundation.
Okay.
When it was time to lay the stone on the building, he helped me do the wire lath, and then he left. And then I worked 21 days in a row, and I laid all the stone on the outside of the Dairy Queen.
Right.
I think my cousin Johnny did the sign.
Gotcha.
But every piece of stone on the building, I laid it. My dad did the window sills.
Right.
But all the stone, and then he came back to help me grout it.
Right.
Clean it up. But and we built the BP. We built the Ace Hardware. We built the other BP. We built Cadence Bank in Gray. The brick, the masonry work, the foundations, and the outside masonry work. And the list goes on. And I don't want to pretend that my dad's resume is mine, because that's like, he's Mr. Miyagi and I'm like Daniel's son. Like he's a whole nother level of a working man than I would ever be. But he was a hell of an example. And I thought that you want to, in my experience, I wanted to emulate whatever that is what a man is supposed to be, right? He thumped his cigarette. I'm 4 or 5 years old. I pick it up, run around the house smoking it.
Yep.
Because he smokes it, right?
Right.
He didn't drink beer and do a whole lot of fishing, but he did do some fishing. We did some of that. I have, some hunting, mostly with my brother, with my big brothers. Is where I've really learned more about guns and hunting was my oldest brother, Chris. My dad was always working. Four kids. And then it was tough, man. It was tough. And seeing him work us out of that into a nice new home and stuff like that. We started in a very small, little bitty house, together. And I watched him work us and pick us up and bring us to the next level. And so I wanted to learn how to lay bricks, so I could be as good a man as him.
Right.
And I did. I learned, and I can say that I'm a Mason. I could go anywhere in the world and eat.
And
today.
Yeah. Well, problems in the world, a lot of it root back to home because we have fatherless homes, and
bring it on.
Family is gone, and like I say, I've known you for a long time, but every single time I come, to help out any kind of thing I can do on those video shoots and stuff. One thing's for sure is Rick Jones is going to be there doing whatever behind the scenes people have, whatever it takes. I mean, and that's got to be a good feeling all the way through your life. You've had Rick right there by your side. And, even the other night at the amphitheater, I tried my best to get a picture of him out behind it, looking up at you, thousands of people in the stage. I mean, that's just like a full circle thing, man. He's there for you and setting good examples for you on how to be a father. I mean, that's awesome.
He's one of one, man. I mean, I'm really fortunate. I was not always on the right path as a young person, for sure. And if I wouldn't have had that reinforcement, that man to be there, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to talk about people. I'm not talking speaking down. I'm just saying as a matter of fact that a lot of people don't have a man in their life at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of them don't want to be bothered with you.
Yep.
When you're into your 20s, right?
That's right.
It's like, get the hell on, please get off my back.
That's right.
But not that guy, man. That guy, like, to the end is there and took care of me, helped bring me back when I was lost,
Right.
always gave me a job if I needed it, taught me how to feed myself,
Right.
where I didn't even realize I was being taught this. And then I'm like, oh, I can work for myself.
Right.
And that's how I came up with the money to buy a van and a trailer to go on tour.
Right.
Like, wow, I got money to go. I got credit.
That's right.
Right. But yeah, man, I don't even know I have words for that, man. That's big.
Yeah.
Big. And it's made me want to be, and he told me, man, it's kind of, I don't want to get too like heavy duty, but man, he told me that I was a better daddy than him.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That is good stuff to hear.
Yeah. And I don't know how that sits with me.
Right. Yeah. That's serious.
What
That's
is
big.
life
Coming
for
from
a
D-Man.
Demun Jones? What does life look like when you're off the road, when you are at home?
Really, I sit around and get bossed around by girls.
Well, there you go.
I need to go get my testosterone levels checked because having little girls back to back was just like, you think you're a tough guy.
Right.
Then you're painting toenails and picking out my little pony book bags. But I wouldn't change it at all. I'm excited pretty much every day about it. I get stressed and just things pile up, things I got to do. I got 4 songs to write. I got this. I'm doing this. I'm supposed to be here. I was like, we got hitting lessons today. We got a softball game Saturday. We got to do, I'm intensely focused on getting to a place where I'm mostly with my family far more than I'm anywhere else.
Right.
Because I feel like that is my main purpose,
Absolutely.
Do they ever go out with you?
There's
Not
been
really.
a couple of times, special occasions. Like if I have this opportunity that's going to happen on someone's birthday, like that's only happened once, I think. I flew them out to Vegas. We hung out. Then they rode on the bus to Phoenix, came out on stage and sang with me.
Oh,
On Lyric's 9th birthday, and of course they came to Macon things, but a lot of times there's so much stuff going on. A lot of the venues I play are bars. That's just not somewhere I would take my wife and children. Just being straight up, not me. Like you can do whatever you want, but it's just not line up with what my path as a parent is. I bring my little kids into bars a lot. I'm not doing it.
And you've been able to collaborate a little bit with them, and they've sang on a couple of songs on the album.
Very talented.
Absolutely.
I've tried not to push them into that. I'm not sure that it's up to me, really, what they choose to do with their life. Of course it's not. But they're both naturally musical. They both have rhythm and a great voice. And that's definitely on the menu of something they could choose to do. You know, I think they're ahead of where they should be. They both sang in front of people and did well. They're in that age now, though, 14, 15. It's like, oh, you got to be super cool, right? So it's like, I think that self-preservation has kind of keeps them from it a little bit. But they both have the ability to be showstoppers. They're both athletic. They're both highly intelligent. So I think they could do whatever.
So for people that don't know, Demun he's artistically talented, but then his wife was an all-star, would have been all-American, whatever, softball player. Stud.
She was stud.
Okay, and his daughters are all region, and home run hitters. I mean,
well, the thing is, most of their home runs came in within a few games, right?
Right.
Because with them being young and girls, like if you have a bad game, it hurts your feelings. Takes you a second to get over, and the competition's really stiff.
Right.
You know, we played Tatnall. We beat Tatnall once at Tatnall. My 8th grader hit 3 bombs
in one game.
Were you there?
Yes, I was. Yes.
It didn't look normal, right?
No.
Stud.
Right.
So, and JJ hit 3 bombs in one game on 3 pitches.
Right.
This is a very rare occurrence, right? JJ had 4 on the year. Lyric had 8. JJ is a speedster. And, man, it's just really exciting to watch. If they stick with it, I think that there's no question they could easily play at the next level if that's what they wanted. It's just the difference is, do you want to put the work in, right? You have the ability, clearly.
Right.
If you're batting 400, you're hitting bombs.
Yeah.
But if they lock in a little bit, I think that they'll hit a whole lot more bombs. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then
Lyric hit 5 of hers in 2 games.
Yeah, and she's a pitcher like no other. I mean, bringing the heat, and she's in 8th grade. And
She just turned 14 Saturday. Yeah. She's throwing in the 60s.
wow.
Yeah, that's it. And I was a good ball player, but I was also a professional dumbass in high school. Right. I just was, right?
yeah.
I used my potential for things that were not productive, right? Mm-hmm. I loved baseball. God, I loved it. But, I don't fault Coach Ville for kicking me off the team in 11th grade because I was a punk.
Right.
And I probably asked for it.
Right.
Right. It broke my heart, though. But I was a good ball player. But I was trying to be good at, I was trying to be good at dancing, trying to be a good ball player, trying to be the most popular, trying to wear something crazy, trying to do too many things.
Right.
Instead of focusing my energy. But my wife was a much more focused person.
Right.
Tennis during tennis season, basketball during basketball season. She got a Letterman's blanket.
Right.
Class president,
Everything.
Yeah.
Senior
I wasn't going to be the class. I might get class favorite now. I won class favorite for being an idiot, but I wasn't most likely to succeed.
So we always run into our old coaches and old principals and stuff like that, and every one of them love Demun. They love him. But is there one that sticks out that maybe doubted you when you was in high school that you're like, I made it, and you wish you could just say and just show them, hey, all that craziness that you didn't believe in me, look what it turned out into being?
No, I don't know if I have any that's a sort of a element of
a little bit
vengeance.
Right.
No, I don't think so. I think if you have some empathy for the educator and imagine what is it like hurting
That many
2,200
kids.
little
Yes.
assholes.
Right. Exactly.
And I was king.
Right.
I was a king, right? In not necessarily a bad way all the time, but I mean, I was always joking and had mostly great relationships with them, even if we had differences. Miss Camelhorn.
Right.
Now, me and Miss Camelhorn, I love her so much. We started off on the wrong page, but she's going to be one of the educators that expresses her support and fondness for what I'm doing the most.
Yep.
Because she knows
She's one of your biggest fans.
Well, she knows how close to the edge I was as a kid. I was almost one of the kids that fell off the edge, And we had an interaction that was colorful, and I went home, and I might have thrown something across the classroom on my way out, and And that was my senior year, 11th or senior year. But I missed up to if I would have missed one more day, I would have failed.
Right.
And she called me and she said, please come back to school. I'm sorry.
Right.
And see, that's
She said, I'm sorry.
Right.
Because I guess she didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I guess somebody colored her in on like some of the things that might have been going on in my life. And
Right.
and ever since, I made an A in her class. That was 11th grade. Yeah, because that's the same year I got kicked off baseball. My parents had got a divorce, like 10th going to 11th. Really rough patch in our house. And senior year had her for another subject, straight A's. You know, and she's somebody who I love. But I don't have any negative memories toward any of my teachers. You know, I don't. Because if they were shitty, can I say that?
Yeah.
Well, you did.
Absolutely.
Shitty. If I was shitty, if they were shitty, maybe I'm being selective with the way I remember.
Right. There you go. Which is good. That's a forgiving mind.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not mad at nobody.
Well, you know, think about it. She told you, please come back to school.
And I did.
If you miss one day, now
You can't miss any more
now
days,
you're
David.
repeating a grade, or you're probably out,
Yep.
or you're probably dropping out.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that one phone call,
I mean, in my mind, I was out.
Right.
that one phone call
Yes.
made that difference.
100%. And I'm grateful. You know, it's not like I did go to college a little bit, but I didn't like graduate. I just went for a year and then went home. It's like, I'm going to work.
That's right.
But I wouldn't have. My life it would have sent my life into another trajectory. You know, along with a bunch of other things. Like one decision, one thing can change the way the rest of your life goes. And I think that moment was one of them. You know, so really, man, I've been as many times as I've needed to be forgiven in my life. I ain't mad, bro. Like if you punched me in the face at Lucy Cooper's,
Right.
I probably deserved it. You know, if I didn't deserve it from you, I deserved it somewhere. Right. I'm not mad. I can't afford
No
to
grudges
carry,
held.
Hell no, I can't afford to carry that stuff around. I'm good. I love you.
So, you know, and we're getting up close to an hour here. And what we like to do is talk about doing good things, too, on the podcast. And, you know, as somebody's platform gets bigger and bigger, if they are a good person, most of the time they're involved in bigger and bigger good things that are going on. One of the good things that I know that you do, and you probably are about to tell us some other things that you do, but the Jones County Day in Jones County, you've did how many of those so far?
I did 5 of them, and that's kind of what my goal was, to do at least 5.
And they were huge.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, I think they averaged 2,000. There was one time that went a little below that, but I think there was a lot going on or something. But 2,500 people at the fairground in Gray, and we give all the money to the school. And there was a couple years we didn't do it because of the COVID stuff, and then we came back and did it. And a lot of the personnel at the school has changed.
Right.
And then also I've had a lot of opportunities come my way. And it's kind of complex,
Yes.
right? And people are like, why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do that now? Why didn't you do it this year? It's like, well, you get booked to headline the Cherry Blossom Festival that ended up getting rained out.
And there's a no compete clause.
Yeah, there's
days.
it's what's called a radius clause.
Yeah.
So within 150 miles. So whether you're playing Cherry Blossom, right when that expires, you're into the amphitheater show, which is also 150 miles.
Right.
So 150 miles from Macon is Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and the ocean.
Right.
And the ocean.
Right.
Exactly.
So that pretty much takes the state of Georgia off the map for a period of time. So, I would like to do it again. Something that's kind of deterred me from being super on it is because, you know, when I do the show, we have raised anywhere as little as 10,000 and up to 20,000 or 25,000. How many kids are in the Jones County school system?
School system.
Do you know? I mean,
I don't have a clue. No.
Is it?
I would say there's 2,000 at the high school, and
It's like 6,000 or 7,000.
probably 6,000 or 7,000 altogether. Yeah.
What is 25,000 divided by 7,000?
Right. Yeah.
We do. Oh, I can't do that math.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's only like
About
it's like $4.
I know what you're saying.
It's $3.50.
Right.
So like I was not trying to do something to get attention. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do something that that does something. You know what I mean? And I could do it, right? I could just do a Demun Jones concert and just say, we're just doing a show, right? And just keep the money, whatever.
Right.
or and spend it on my kids going to college or buy a new truck, which I don't need, right?
That's right.
And which would not be wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with making a living doing what you do, right? If I built a brick fireplace, you would pay me for it.
Exactly.
If I do a concert, that's what my skill is. That's what my job is. But if I do it again, I'm not doing no $20,000 shit. I mean, I'm trying to make. I'm trying to fix something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to plug a hole for real.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And we've talked about it and wanted to collaborate with that when it is time, when the time comes.
It has to be big. It has to be bigger, and it don't have to be bigger so I can look bigger. It has to be bigger because the purpose of it is to impact the as many of the kids and the that's my school. My kids don't go to that school. That's why I went to school.
That's right.
I'm grateful. Whatever, no matter what's going on. That's why I'm a Jones County Greyhound to the bone, and I will be always.
That's right.
And so I'm a alumni of that. And I believe that it is right that if you are in a situation where you can turn around and give back to those that gave to you, no matter if the personalities and the faces change, that's still my school. And those kids are still growing up in the same roads I grew up in. And if I can do something that impacts them, then I want to do that. But if I'm going to do something that just buys them a piece of pizza and makes me look like a saint,
But that's not what you did. I mean, you did the show. You gave the money to the band.
That's right.
I mean,
that's
you
right.
designated where it was going to go.
You're right.
It went to the musicians and the bands and all that
That's
program.
great. But what I'm saying is there's so much more.
I know.
There's so much more needs, right? Like we everybody in the special needs class got a tablet one year. We helped finish the batting cage one year. So those are big deals, right? That's a really big deal. But what I'm saying is I just want to do something that does more.
Right.
I want to do something that does more.
Because you got a big heart and you just want to keep giving and
Yeah,
doing
maybe.
more and more.
I just know the potential of doing more is there. You know? I want to do more.
Well, so, other than that, I mean, you got any other kind of stuff you want to ask him, Ms. Laura?
Laura already knows everything about it.
Oh, yeah. I've got.
What color underwear am I wearing, Laura?
It's Atlanta Brave Blue.
Hey, there we go.
So is it?
No, it's not.
It's
wait. No, it's gray.
It's a gray. Okay. But your truck is Atlanta
It's
Brave
Atlanta
Blue.
Brave. My truck is Atlanta Brave.
We pulled up, and I pulled up in front of Demon's truck. And I've never even seen his truck, but just looking at it, I knew. I was like, this is Demun Jones' truck. It is
Braves, baby.
Braves blue.
I love the Braves.
So we got 3 questions that on our list, our online fan club here wants to ask.
Are we live on Facebook?
No. I can.
Okay.
I can edit some stuff out of it.
No, it's all good. Hell, I ain't embarrassed. Let's go.
All right.
Oh,
The
God.
first time that you got a check more than $10,000, the very first time performing, what did you do with it?
I spent it on a repossessed 4-bedroom brick house, and I remodeled it, and I still rent it out to this day.
Look at that.
Oh, so you made some investment with it.
Absolutely.
Responsible. There we go. That's awesome. Heck yeah. All right. And
That's a good question.
yeah.
That
I was trying to remember because my
Is that my
checks kind
friend
of went.
Beth who asked that? I think.
Well, no, my
Yeah.
checks went from like 0 to 2,000 or 3,000, and then I got one time that was 25,000.
Yeah.
So I went and offered the bank this house that was abandoned over there by,
Right.
you know where it's at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I offered them $25,000. I said, no, that's not enough. I said, all right, well then, hell with it. They called me a week later. Okay, 25,000.
Well, that question was from Beth Edmondson. I told everybody that if I did use their question, they would get a shout out.
Hey, Beth, great question.
There we go. And the next one is, what would you prefer to have to listen to, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, and why?
That's hysterical.
That's from Stephen Waters. He had the most interactions.
I'd have to say NSYNC because I think Justin Timberlake is a very talented
Absolutely.
individual, period. I ain't got no, he's from Tennessee. I ain't got no, you know what I mean? That ain't they changed the game. He's my age and he's done it consistently from a child to now. I have to give my props to Justin Timberlake.
There we go. Justin Timberlake's got it. And then the last but not least,
Oh, God.
Nelson Buckland had this one.
Oh my God.
He wants to know, have you ever been to a P. Diddy party?
Hell no. You know what? But I do know some people that have, and I hadn't asked them nothing. I got some questions.
I hear you. There's some curiosities floating around.
Yeah, and I would never be involved in anything like that. I hope they. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say.
Well, that's best to keep it there then.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Demun, we appreciate you coming and stopping in here with us and doing
Thank
Old
you.
Boots podcast with us today. Ms. Laura, you got anything?
I'm just always so happy to see you and to be around you. You're always happy and up and positive, and I love you.
Amen. I love you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
There we go. And as always, if you can do something good, you should do something good. We'll see you guys. Thank y'all.
When you come out my way, that's why my field stays packed on Fridays. We hunting, fishing, good living, just soaking up every country second we're giving.